one of the most influential directors in the current cinema landscape, and a pioneer in superhero storytelling. This is the life and career of Richard Donner. Richard Donald Schwartzberg was born on April 24th, 1930 in the Bronx in New York City. After doing a few years at New York University, Richard left to Los Angeles to pursue a career in acting. This is where he picked up the marquee friendly name Richard Donner. After leaving a career in acting, Richard took up directing at the suggestion of Martin Ritt, who was a director over one of Richard Donner's projects as an actor. Martin hired Richard to work as kind of like an assistant for him and just kind of learn the ropes of how to direct. And holy cow, did he learn how to direct. He directed a ton of episodes of some of the most influential and important TV shows in history. We've got a bunch of episodes of The Rifleman. We got a few episodes of Gilligan's Island, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., just to name a few. And he's also responsible for directing probably the most famous episode of The Twilight Zone. It was called Nightmare at 20,000 Feet. You know the one. It's the one where Captain Kirk is all...
There's a man out there.
What?
Look, he's crawling on...
Logical.
In 1978, Richard Donner then went on to direct his first major motion picture. It was a movie called The Omen. It's a horror film, not really my cup of milk, but this movie was successful enough to land him his next big job and probably the biggest part of his career. Superman the movie set a new standard for how you make superhero movies. Before this point, superheroes were really comical and really cheesy. The word they use is camp. You can look at, Batman 66 was very campy, fit into that camp environment. I just barely started watching Wonder Woman, and that thing is just cheese city all the way through. And that was the problem with a lot of shows from this era. The Hulk, Spider-Man had that problem as well. They were caught up in this we have to be silly kind of environment. However, the Salkinds, who produced the Superman movie, they got the rights to exclusively make Superman movies. They wanted to tell a serious story. They wanted to take Superman seriously and present, a story that actually meant something to people. And to do it, they wanted to get a serious director. And so they picked up Richard Donner. Now, Richard Donner was filming Superman 1 and 2 simultaneously. This is a feat to do, to work on two movies at the same time. And that's what he was working on. To meet deadlines, though, he had to put the second movie on hold. He had to stop filming that and focus all of his attention on the first movie. And the consequence was it changed everything as far as how movies are made, as far as special effects go. It's hard to imagine because we see this kind of thing all the time where characters are always flying. But making Christopher Reeve fly, that is a feat of, movie and special effects engineering. That was phenomenal. That was beyond anything that anyone else has ever seen. Now, the first movie was a phenomenon. It was crazy successful. But a dispute between Richard Donner and the producers of Superman caused Richard to lose the position of director for Superman 2, which really stunk. He got 80% of the movie finished and then pretty much just had to leave the project altogether. What ended up happening was the producers hired Richard Lester, who finished the movie and reshot most of it. Only about 30% of the theatrical cut is actually Richard Donner's work. And the result was a movie that was actually quite a bit sillier. And this kind of silliness kind of persevered through the third movie and the fourth movie. But having like this event where the first movie was really serious and to a lesser degree the second, but the third and the fourth especially being very silly, actually serves to help Richard Donner's case and actually like made his vision more relevant. After seeing the difference in tone between the first movie and the subsequent movies, most directors ended up looking at that first movie and taking most of their cues from it when making superhero movies. Lots of people have talked about this. We have Tim Burton, who cited it as like his standard for Batman. We have the Russo brothers, watch this movie all the time. It's been stated that before every Marvel project, they sit down and they watch Superman the movie so they can like pull out that example of what a full good superhero movie needs to incorporate. We have like a bunch more movies that Richard Donner made. One of them, The Goonies. He directed The Goonies, which is like, that's like a childhood hit for thousands, probably millions of people. And after he was done directing, he went into producing. And he produced the X-Men movies. Like Bryan Singer's X-Men movies. That was him. He put forward the cash, he put forward the money to make that happen. Like, that's fantastic. He went from one amazing superhero franchise to another just like that. And then he wasn't done. So it turns out that Richard Donner worked fairly closely with Jeff Johns. Jeff Johns being, at one point, the chief creative officer at DC Comics. And as a consequence, Richard Donner was brought in to work on a few comic book series. So Richard Donner worked on 3 comic books. One of them was Superman Escape from Bizarro World. Another one is probably one of my favorite comic books, Superman the Last Son of Krypton. This is a great story that really emphasizes family. It emphasizes like everything that makes Superman really cool. And then they were able to get Richard Donner to work on Action Comics number 1000. And the story that he worked on was about like the owner of the car that was smashed in the first Action Comics cover. And it's a beautiful story. It really captures the essence of Superman. I mean, of course, of all people, Richard Donner would know how to work Superman. He would understand that character. And it's so cool that like, not only did he make some really great movies, but he also expanded into the comic books and made some really great stories. Stories that really stand up. But see, after the comic books, he wasn't done. Probably his most surprising project came about in 2006. While Warner Brothers was working on Superman Returns, Richard Donner was heading up a team of archivists and film restoration teams and editing teams to put together the footage that makes up his version of Superman 2. Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut. It's very fascinating. It's a completely different movie, just to summarize the topic, because the topic is huge. It deserves its own video. To summarize the topic, Superman 2 is a completely different movie than the Richard Donner cut. The Richard Donner cut has different scenes, events play out completely differently, the ending is different. Just the whole thing is just this different experience. And it's really fascinating to hop in there and watch it and see Richard Donner's creative process and how his vision ultimately differed from what the producers felt safe with and what Richard Lester in his version was trying to say. I mean, I'm going to make another video on this topic, but let me give you my recommendation here. If you're going to go ahead and watch the Richard Donner cut in kind of memoriam of Richard Donner and his life and career, I say this: you gotta marathon it. Watch Superman the movie, watch the theatrical cut, then watch the Richard Donner cut, and you'll get like a full, real understanding of what Richard Donner was trying to accomplish. And it's spectacular. Richard Donner passed away on July 5th of 2021 at the age of 91. And you know what? Oftentimes I feel like we get together like this to kind of like mourn the loss of a creative life, but like I feel like Richard Donner actually did live a full and amazing life. I'm sure, of course, there were regrets there, but like he left behind this legacy that continues to just kind of snowball into this phenomenon that really cannot be stopped. He's, through his work, become like a legend. And that's fascinating. That's worth celebrating. Richard Donner was a visionary man. Just this brilliant person who pushed forward the art of filmmaking, pushed forward the art of special effects, and pushed forward the art of specifically superhero storytelling. He's created like this template that will last forever. So if you're interested in looking into Richard Donner's work, definitely check out his work. Of course, this being Comic Crash and us being all about superheroes here, we've got Superman the movie, Superman 2, and the Richard Donner cut of Superman 2. Also, guys, you gotta check out Last Son of Krypton. This is one of the best Superman stories ever put to comics, I'm pretty sure. Like, beautiful book. And of course, also check out The Goonies and his episode of Twilight Zone, because, I mean, that's a classic. That, like I said, is probably the most famous episode of the series. So, with all of that said, thank you for joining me. Have a great day. Thank you, Richard Donner. And remember to always be your best self.